Well, it's not exactly the nicest day to be picking evening primrose, but it's kind of my only day to pick evening primrose. So I thought that I'd come out, get my annual supply, and I'll show you how I do it. That kind of saves a lot of the mess and fuss of trying to get those little seeds out of the primrose seed pods. So my trick, I like to use a bucket, and all I'm going to do is cut the tops off and invert them in the bucket, and then that way as they dry you can just shake it and all the seeds are going to fall down to the bottom over time. And then once you've extracted as many as you're going to extract, you can just pull the stalks out and winnow this down just to get any dust or bugs out of it, and we should be left with a final product. So here we go. Handy tool for this. You can break them by hand. They're kind of wet today, so I didn't know if they'd be like crispy crunchy, so I'm going to use my Fiskars pruners. These are a super handy tool to have. Get them at Cabela's Bass Pro for $20 something. But interestingly, when I was on their website, I saw they're selling their garden shears right now, which are even nicer for doing like herb gardening and foraging, and they're on sale for less than $10, so that's pretty good. Okay, let's go tackle some primrose. Bugs in the garden, Ziggy. That's bugs in the garden. I don't want to pack them too tight because they'll need airflow around them. Otherwise I'll just end up with a bucket full of moldy primrose. I'm kind of cutting them at about the right height that they all the seed pods are below the level of the bucket lip. And it cannot hurt to pull some of these wet leaves out of here, just so I get better airflow and I have drier seed pods faster. That's kind of going to be the trick, because ideally you would want to pick these on a dry day when they're kind of dry and crispy. I didn't get that day, so I'm just doing what I can. The other thing you can do is you can pick these and tie them in big bundles, and if you have a spot where you know you're quite certain you're not going to have mice or dogs or children interfering, you can hang them over a clean sheet or a tarp, and then the seeds will fall out over time as they dry. But the pods are interesting because when you open them up, a lot of the seeds are way down kind of in the back of the pod, so they really have to dry out and open up over time to drop those seeds. And of course, once these are all in here and they're dry, I'm going to agitate them, and that's going to help the process of getting those seeds down into the bottom of the bucket. And I can see, even though they are very wet right now, they're already dropping some seeds. So that's just kind of an expedient way. If you want a higher quantity, you can do the tarp method, or you can just use like several buckets. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a fan on these guys, just to make sure that there's lots of dry air circulating around them. That's kind of the method right there. It's quick and easy. It saves you a lot of work. Now, if you like OCD tasks, you can watch TV and like open each little pod one by one over a big bowl and really get the most out of those seeds. But if you're interested to just have like an easy experience harvesting primrose and then using it in some baking or some cooking, which is kind of the the easiest way to add a little bit of wild food into your diet. This bucket method works really great. So anecdotally, I would say that these seeds tend to last for a really long time in storage. These are ones that I had collected a couple years ago. You can see they're still in really nice shape. These ones, obviously I didn't finish winnowing them, and I did them by the slow pick method, so I was picking them in a way that they ended up with a lot of extra material in them, I would say. That's a pretty big quantity of primrose seeds. What does primrose look like? What does primrose look like? Evening primrose is probably one of the easier plants to identify, and I'm kind of past the season for the flowers, but this one, is growing right beside my house, and they have these really bright yellow flowers. These guys are all droopy and drying out, but it makes them really easy to identify. And you can eat these flowers when they are fresh. They're like an edible flower. I always check inside them for a bug before I eat flowers. That kind of goes for any flowers. They sometimes have little bugs or spiders hiding inside of them. But those will develop into these seed pods, and again, like, they're a very distinctive look. And if we can rip one open here, let's have a look. Just gonna set the camera down. All right, so are we in focus here? Maybe not. So again, like, you can kind of peel these guys open, and you can see the seeds are often down here. When they're fresh, the seeds are lined up all along the inside, and they're kind of attached to this central piece. And even as I'm opening up this dried one, I'll give it a little twist here and I'll show you what's coming out of it. We get these seeds, right? So they're quite small, but they are very nutritious, and they're not that hard to collect in quantity. Right? What do you think about that? What do you think about that? Where are you? Hi. Hi. Oh, you're a nice dog. You're a nice dog. You wagging your tail? So I find they kind of just pop up around my house. They pop up in my garden. They're very common roadside plants. And as you saw, they're super easy to pick. So there's an evening primrose there. There's another one here. There's another one here. This guy's about 5 feet tall. That's evening primrose there, and there. This is another one that's, this one's almost 6 feet tall, so they can get quite tall. You'll find them in like meadows, but typically areas with a fair bit of ground disturbance. And oh yeah, that one's got lots of little seeds in it. So, I do prefer to let them dry out and then just shake those seeds out. And then, you can winnow them. Like with a big bowl, you can toss them in the air and catch the seeds and let everything blow away. Because the seeds are so small, you have to be careful that you're just blowing away the leafy material and not losing the seeds. So the other way you can do that is, you can pour it from one bowl to the next repeatedly, and then allow those pieces of leaf to fly away. I don't think they're going to hurt you if you eat small quantities of them. They're just not really what you're after. So you can do that outdoors, or again, if you're using a fan, you can get a fan. It's nice if you have the like a variable speed fan, so you can kind of find the sweet spot that's going to let you blow the leaf stuff out as you're pouring in front of the fan, or you can vary your distance from the fan and just remove unwanted material.